They found sanctuary. The minions were safe.
Okay, pause. What this post is talking about is disturbingly true, but it also brings up a lot more additionally disturbing questions. The minions are biologically hardwired to serve the most evil person alive. The writers had to strand them in an ice cave from 1812 to 1968, specifically so that they wouldn't have to explain why the minions were working for Hitler and Stalin, when before, the last person that they had served with was Napoleon. This brings up a series of questions, namely, who theoretically would the minions have actually served under during this time period, and also, if there is a person that is more evil that rises to power during the time in which they are serving another evil person, do they switch jobs and go to that person? Like, theoretically, among the 20th century dictators, the first one to rise to power would have been Mussolini back in, 1922, so he probably would have been the first one that they would have served under. But then very quickly afterwards, we have the rise of Stalin, and then there's the Holodomor, which takes place over the course of 1932 to 1933, in which millions of Ukrainians are killed, and from that, he probably is the one that they would have assisted with that. And of course, naturally, after 1933, we have the rise of Mustache Man, and so from that, they would have potentially been there in the camps. Then, extra big question, after Mustache Man goes and offs himself in 1945, do they all just go back to Stalin? And after Stalin eventually croaks going into the early 1950s, do they all then jump ship over to Mao Zedong? All of this could have happened. But what I am talking about here is theoretical. There is a much bigger problem that is presented here. They were in there until 1968. Only 1968. This right here is Pol Pot, the dictator of Cambodia, and he would take over in 1975. During this time, it is estimated that he killed anywhere between 1/4 to 1/3 of the entire population of Cambodia. So theoretically, the minions, during this time, they've been out for 7 years. They could have been part of this. Of course, Pol Pot also wanted to off anyone that was wearing glasses because that was a sign that they were potentially wealthy and could actually afford glasses and were thus educated, and that interfered with his agricultural utopia, which means that they probably don't fit that bill here, necessarily. Listen, all I'm saying is the writers have some serious explaining to do.